Hi, everybody. Who doesn't like a nice, crispy fried item? Fresh out of the fryer, crispy and hot and tasty. It's delicious. When it's done right, it's really good. And I'm going to show you how to do it right today. The first thing we're going to learn about is what we call standard breading procedure. Now, I'm going to give you the basics, but once you understand those, you can use your own creativity to get as wild and crazy as you want. So for starters here, I took a zucchini. Zucchinis are really in season now. They're huge, and it would be a good meat substitute as well. And what I want to do is I want to bread it before I fry it. See, if I just slice the zucchini and put it in the fryer or in the oil, it's going to soak up all the grease. So what I need is a barrier, all right? Well, the first thing I want to do is I want to prepare my items. Now, I can fry or pan fry almost anything, but it should be somewhat tender, and items are usually kind of smaller. You know, I'm not going to deep fry a big steak or something like that. So for the zucchini, I slice them. Now, I think that this is probably, this would be, say, way too thin, right? This one is probably way too thick, but this is just right. About this right, because if it's too thin, it is going to be all breadcrumbs. And if it's too fat, then the insides won't cook. Okay, to bread something, we have three things. I have a tray of my raw product. I have flour, egg wash, and breadcrumbs. I have here two types of breadcrumbs. You've probably seen panko on the market, as well as your traditional breadcrumbs. Now, all of these can have variations, but for starters, we'll just start with this. Now, the bread is one of those techniques that can be very, very messy. So what we want to do is we want to have one hand dry and one hand wet. And let me show you what that means. I'm going to use these zucchinis, or whatever it might be. It could be a chicken cutlet. It could be, well, I just thought of a chicken cutlet, but it could be other vegetables, anything that might cook quickly. I'm going to season it. And first, I'm going to put it into the flour. And the purpose of the flour is sort of to dry off the surface. And it also gives something for the egg wash to adhere to. If I just put the zucchini in the egg wash, it's going to slip off. So I need to make like a little bit of glue. All right, now here's the tricky part. This hand dumps it into the egg wash and flips it over. And then this hand picks it up. See, this hand is wet, this hand is dry, and then goes into the breadcrumbs. All right, so this hand is wet. This hand is dry and goes into the breadcrumbs. And we're going to pack it on like that. And then we put it over here, once again, wet and into the dry. This is a great project for two people, so that one person could do one part and the other do the other one. All right? Now, once we have our items breaded, and you can see the difference here between panko and the regular breadcrumbs. After you've breaded them, it's a good idea to let them rest for about 30 minutes. If you fry them too soon, sometimes the batter or the breading all comes off. All right? Good. I had done a few earlier, so they are ready to go. Now, while my pan heats up, let's talk about this. This pan is what we call a sautoir. It's got straight sides. It is better for oil because we want the oil to come about halfway up the product. The alternative would be something like this that has sloping sides. This is a sauteuse. It's not the best choice, but it would also do. All right? So I'm going to go ahead and heat this up. And I'm going to put some oil so that it would come halfway up the product. Now, you might ask yourself, what type of oil do I use to pan fry? Use a neutral oil that has a high smoking point. I would use a canola oil or a grapeseed oil. Definitely you want to steer clear of frying in olive oil. I think that would be very heavy. Or any of the specialty oils. You wouldn't fry in, say, sesame oil or walnut oil. First off, they have a very low smoking point, which means you can't get them very hot. And secondly, they're very strong in their flavor. Now, some chefs like to use peanut oil, and that is a great oil. However, you have some allergens to be aware of, so be cautious when you use that. Now, when I'm ready to pan fry, I want to make sure I stay at the stove. You do not leave oil heating up unattended, ever, ever, ever. That is how fires start. Okay, and I'm going to take my oil and I'm going to pour it up in here. And it usually takes a little while, so make sure when you're ready to fry, you are ready to fry. Don't be dilly-dallying everywhere else. Okay, that's going to go on the side. And I'm gonna just check a little, and you can kind of tell if it's ready. Nothing's happening. There's no sizzling, nothing. So it's still a little cold. So I'm gonna go ahead and let that heat up. But I was thinking, I had a really good thought the other day, and I thought it would be kind of fun. So I took the zucchini and I made a little sandwich. I put the zucchini, I put a little tomato, some basil, and I did the same on the other side, tomato, basil, and some cheese. Now I'm gonna close it together. I'm gonna do the same thing. I'm gonna go ahead and bread it. So we have a little surprise inside. I was thinking that because many times when you serve fried items, because they're so fatty, we serve them with something acidic. Oftentimes you might serve it with tomato sauce or lemon. Fried items are not something you would serve, say, a hollandaise with or a beurre blanc because they're already so fatty. And on that note, too, some things probably fry up better than others, right? Okay, so we're gonna check this out. Now, for variations on a theme, we could change the flour. We could use different types of flour. Some people like cornstarch, depending on your flavor profile. You could use whole wheat flour, rye flour, pumpernickel flour, rice flour if you want to go gluten-free. For the egg wash, remember, you need something to stick, but it doesn't have to be an egg. You could use milk. You could use coconut milk. You could add anything that's kind of wet that helps it, not water. And then for your crumbs, we use the breadcrumbs, but if it were something sweet, you might use a cake crumb. Sometimes we'll add in there nuts or cereals and maybe coconut for coconut shrimp. But the cautionary thing there is to make sure that it's not burning. They're very high in oil and fat, and they will burn quickly. Now, as this is getting hotter, let's see. I can see that it's bubbling. Now, what is that that's bubbling, actually? Well, the oil is probably at about 300 degrees. And I'm going to use a spatula like this to get underneath it. And I'm going to turn this down. Now, I have to kind of babysit this. All right, and I'm going to go ahead and put these all in. 2, 3, 4, 5, and it goes quickly. Sometimes they go very quickly. I'm going to turn one over, sorry, excuse me. Turn this over. Okay, we can put a few more in. Try not to put too many in the pan at one time. When you put it in the pan, watch your knuckles here, that they don't get in the oil. That hurts like the dickens. You only make that mistake once, and you'll remember it forever. Okay, good. So they're frying nicely. Now, what I'm seeing boiling away is the water in the product, because water boils at 212 and the oil is hotter. So that's why it's boiling. It's not really boiling, it's just the water evaporating. And I'm using this little spatula, slotted spatula, because it's a little bit more maneuverable. When I use a tongs, see, a tongs here has this rivulet, and if I'm not careful, sometimes the oil will run up there and could burn me, which is also not fun. Okay. Now, we want to just turn these once, if possible. Right? Turn them once. And we're flipping them over. And they're looking wonderful, as you can see. Flipping. And we'll let them go a wee bit longer. Now, for the case of my little sandwich here that I did earlier, the problem with this is it needs to be double breaded. So what I do is I go to flour, egg wash, breadcrumbs. Then I'm just going to go back into the egg wash and the breadcrumbs. I don't need to do the flour a second time. And this double breading procedure is what we use when we do things like fried mozzarella, right? Or anything that needs an extra added crumb on the outside, okay? And this little piece, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put this one in the fridge, and we'll come back to that in a little bit later, okay? Let me wash my hand. All right. Now, here we go. Now, when your items come out of the pan fry, we want to put them on something. Now, this technique can also be used for proteins. Actually, fried chicken. Pan-fried chicken is a southern staple that is pan-fried. But you might worry that maybe the chicken isn't done all the way. You can always finish it in the oven. But what you're looking for in this is that beautiful, crispy outside. like this. See how that is? Look how nice that is, huh? That is so nice. And it puffs up. Now this should go directly to the guest, okay? Which is exactly what we're going to do. We're going to put that in there. Some of the ones with the panko may take a little bit longer. And like I said, be careful. The oil is hot. There we go. Okay, I'm going to turn that off. And let's talk about some of the pitfalls. I might have an example. If your oil is too cold, the items will look greasy and not very appealing. If the oil is too hot, then the items will burn. Here I can see already the difference between the two, the panko and the regular breadcrumbs that are here. Now what I might want to do is put them in the oven for a second, but I want to show you an example of what maybe is not something you want to serve. Oh, this is a fridge here. Okay, let's see, oven is here. Sorry, I'm learning. Okay. So here I have some beautiful ones that I had done earlier. And if you want to look closely, here sometimes we'll have one that it looks really good on one side, but then when I flip it over, it's sort of pale and not as good. So we want to make sure that it's browned on both sides. Or here's another one. Sometimes students will try to sneak it past you. Oh, chef, that looks good. And then you might turn on the other side and find it's really dark or burnt. Now, unfortunately, burnt is something we can't fix, but just don't let it get quite that far. Okay, when we serve this, perhaps we'll serve it with a little bit of a lemon or tomato sauce on the side so that we can dip it in. Lemons are always nice. And then the oil. People ask, what do we do with the oil? Well, a couple of things. First of all, if you are ever having a fire for whatever reason, the way you get rid of, first of all, leave the pan on the stove, under the hood. Don't walk around or try to put it in the sink. Major mistake. Number two, you want to suffocate it. Put a lid on it or anything else. Cover it with the sheet pan. But once the oil is cold, the best way to get rid of, you can reuse it. You have to strain it, of course, and you would keep it. But if it's a one-time thing and you want to throw it out, let it chill and then pour it into a container or something and put it in the trash. Don't throw it down the drain. That's a very bad practice. It's not good for your drains either. All right? So that is what we have, a little pan-fried zucchini. Oh, let's see what my other one was. My little sandwich. Sandwich, when I was frying, came out quite nicely, right? They look sort of like this, and if we open them up, we'll see on the inside the layers, and I'll do that when we come back, okay? Our nice little surprise inside, and our little zucchini here. There we go, okay, good. And when we come back, I'm gonna talk to you a little bit about, this was standard breading procedure. We're gonna talk about batters. Thanks a lot, see you when we come back.
Fresh thinking is being served at Miami-Dade College. Create your own recipe for success in the evolution of food culture at the Miami Culinary Institute. Learn the skills you need to jumpstart your career in the culinary arts. Turn green into gourmet and celery into salary. Miami Culinary Institute. Food, culture, innovation. Visit us at miamidadeculinary.com. Register now. Miami Culinary Institute.
Learn and earn today at Miami-Dade College. College graduates earn 56% more than high school graduates and $1 million more in lifetime earnings. A degree from MDC is your path to greater earning power and career success. Choose from hundreds of affordable high-tech and in-demand career programs, including cybersecurity, artificial intelligence, business, and nursing. Learn and earn today at MDC and fast-track your career. Enroll now at mdc.edu/purpose.
Miami-Dade College has career paths in anything you want to be. What's your story? Be global. Be cutting edge. Be inventive. Be investigative. Be a hero. What do you want to be? Be the best. Be you. Be MDC.
Hi, everybody. Welcome back. I want to show you what I have over here. This is our little zucchini sandwich that was kind of inspired by eggplant parmesan. We took, in this case, zucchini. You could do the same with eggplant. And we made a little sandwich with some tomato and some cheese inside. And then we breaded and fried that one as well. Looks quite nice. And then we have our pan-fried zucchini with standard breading procedure. But let's talk about some other way to fry things with a batter. Now, batters can be tricky, but as long as you remember a few basics, you'll be okay. The first thing is remember what is a batter. Batter is usually comprised of a flour or cornstarch, a liquid that could be an egg, and a leavener that makes it light and fluffy, and of course seasonings. So at its most basic, I could take an onion ring and I could dip it in flour and water and fry it, and it would taste like wallpaper paste. But the concept is there. What we want to do is we want to take not only flour, but cornstarch. Cornstarch makes things crispier. So I have a mixture here of flour and cornstarch together. Now, for the egg, many different ways, different recipes. I could use a whole egg. What I'm going to do, though, is I'm going to take an egg, the egg white, and I'm going to whip it up a little bit. That will help give me the leavening that I need. When we eat a batter that's been fried, we're looking for something that's kind of light and crispy. And the way we achieve that is through a leavener. And a leavener is what makes things light and fluffy. Now, I'm going to do a little experiment here. You may remember this from grade school, but this is a great example of what a leavener does. I have in here a little white vinegar, and I have in here baking soda. And if you remember from science class, we used to make volcanoes. That's what leavening does. Leavening gives CO2 to the mixture and makes it light and airy. The only drawback is when you're using something like that, you want to fry it right away. You can't let it sit overnight. Okay? So without further ado, let's go ahead and make a little batter. I'm going to go ahead and add wet to dry. And I have in my flour, I've already put some baking soda. You can use baking powder as well, but they both are similar. Baking powder might make things a little bit drier. And then also, if you wanted, you could use club soda, a Pellegrino, a beer batter. Any of those also give you some lightening properties. I'm going to put this in just so it's a little bit thinner. Okay. Now, for vegetables or anything else to be fried, remember, frying is a quick method. So if it's something that needs to be par-cooked, you might boil it ahead of time. But some items maybe are small and thin. You can fry them right away. I have for me here, I took some green beans. Now, green beans are lovely, but I did par-cook them a little bit because otherwise they're going to just be raw. The frying wouldn't cook them enough. I'm going to put them in my cornstarch here, cornstarch flour mixture. And remember, this is so that the batter can adhere. All right, and then I'm going to put it in my batter here. Now, with a frying method, if I just drop this into the oil, oftentimes it will just sink to the bottom. So what I need to do is I swim it sort of back and forth till it starts to float. Okay, let me do that once again. You can see I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to swim it in the oil just a little bit till the water in there starts to boil away, and see, then it floats. If I just drop it in, it sinks to the bottom and it will cook onto your fryer basket or the bottom of your pot. The same with a little onion ring. Let's take a little onion ring here and we'll fry these. Now, frying is one of those, has some variables in it. First of all, if your oil isn't hot enough, which it looks like it is here, not hot enough, the items may get a little greasy. They'll soak it up. And obviously, if the oil is too hot, they'll burn up. If the oil is new, like brand new, it may take a little longer to get golden brown. As just the opposite, when the oil is older, oftentimes it will get brown before it's actually done. So I'm swimming these in here. Good. And off we go. It is a little bit messy, so it helps to have a little towel or something just to wipe your fingers on. And if you're breading a lot of things, make sure you go to the trash and rub your fingers off before putting it down the drain. Okay, so we have some rings here, and you can see they're puffing up very nicely. As soon as they hit that heat, they puffed right up. Okay, we'll get a couple more going in here. I'll pull these out. Now, another thing, I don't have it right here, but sometimes people want to ask me about frying a Snickers bar, frying ice cream, frying something unusual. For the most part, a batter might be the best way to do it. But if you want to do something like, let's say you want to fry ice cream, well, what we'll do is we have to make sure that it is just rock frozen solid. And then we can bread it, but we would bread it in cereal crumbs. So maybe in a little bit of graham cracker, maybe into some cereal crumbs. And then we would fry it just enough so that the outside would be nice and brown. If you stick around, I might do one for you. Anyway, here we have some beautiful onion rings coming right out. And oftentimes, as soon as they come out of the fryer, I like to sprinkle some salt and pepper on them because that's when it sticks. It sticks really well when it's wet from the fryer, okay? And as with all of these fried items, you want to serve them right away. So I'll give a little plate here, and we'll have some onion rings here, or maybe some green beans, and a dipping sauce or something that would be made separately and served on the side. Remember, when you have crispy fried items, you don't want to cover them with aluminum foil because they'll steam. You don't want to put the sauce over the top because they'll get soggy. And you want to serve them fresh out of the fryer. You don't want them to sit under the heat lamp and wither. All right? And that being said, when we come back, I'm doing a quick ice cream for you, and then we'll call it a day.
Fresh thinking is being served at Miami-Dade College. Create your own recipe for success in the evolution of food culture at the Miami Culinary Institute. Learn the skills you need to jumpstart your career in the culinary arts. Turn green into gourmet and celery into salary. Miami Culinary Institute. Food, culture, innovation. Visit us at miamidadeculinary.com. Register now. Miami Culinary Institute.
Learn and earn today at Miami-Dade College. College graduates earn 56% more than high school graduates and $1 million more in lifetime earnings. A degree from MDC is your path to greater earning power and career success. Choose from hundreds of affordable high-tech and in-demand career programs, including cybersecurity, artificial intelligence, business, and nursing. Learn and earn today at MDC and fast-track your career. Enroll now at mdc.edu/purpose.
Miami-Dade College has career paths in anything you want to be. What's your story? Be global. Be cutting edge. Be inventive. Be investigative. Be a hero. What do you want to be? Be the best. Be you. Be MDC.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Taste of MCI. My name is Chef Pam, and I'm going to finish this lesson up with something called fried ice cream. Fried ice cream, geez, that sounds like an oxymoron, doesn't it? Well, there are some tricks, and it pretty much follows the same procedure. And you can be creative. You can use this technique to fry Twinkies or Snickers bars or anything else. Whatever it is, though, make sure it's frozen solid. I have some ice cream here that I just scooped out and I froze very solid. Might be kind of fun even to stick a truffle or something in there. And then in this case, to bread it, we don't want to use breadcrumbs. We're going to use cereal crumbs. I got some corn flakes, or you could even use like a Cinnamon Toast Crunch or Frosted Flakes. Just remember that the sugar content, whoops, out you go. The sugar content will affect how quickly it gets browned. Now, once I have my flakes, I'm simply going to go, in this case, I took graham cracker crumbs because they seemed okay, like the right fit, graham cracker crumbs. And then I'm going to go into the egg white or egg wash, and then I'm going to go back into the cookie crumb. The thing is with the cookies or the cereal crumb is that it needs to be breaded twice. So we're going to bread it once, and we let it sit for a few minutes. And then to bread it the second time, what we do is we go back in just into the egg white and then into the crumb. And this ensures that nothing will leak out. You would also use this, let's say, if you were frying mozzarella cheese. Of course, you wouldn't use cereal. You might use breadcrumbs, but it's the same procedure to do a double breading. Once it's done, then we're going to go ahead and drop it in the deep fryer, which should be working right about here. And I can see it's nice and fried. Okay, good. We're going to get it in the deep fryer here and turn it around. And when it comes out, what we'll have is a beautiful crispy. You only need to cook it so that the outside is brown. You don't have to worry about anything inside getting done. And once it's done, we'll drain it a little bit, and then we'll serve it to our guests, perhaps with a little sauce or something. Let's see what happens when we open into that. Oh, even now, as I'm cutting into it, the ice cream is still a little bit cold, which is nice. Anyway, my name is Chef Pam. Thank you for joining us today at Taste of MCI here in the Wine Theater, downtown Wolfson campus in the heart of it all. I hope to see you next time. Thank you.